While everyone has been drooling over the newly launched Samsung Galaxy S8 and the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus flagship smartphones, let me remind you that the company had recently introduced new additions to the Samsung Galaxy A series this year. One of the smartphones that has been added to the A series is the Samsung Galaxy A7 2017. This smartphone goes up against a formidable opponent in the form of the OnePlus 3T. I've used it for a long period of time, and here's what I think about the Samsung Galaxy A7 2017. There is no doubt that the Samsung Galaxy A7 2017 resembles the Samsung Galaxy S7's design, thanks to the use of curved glass unibody, metal edges and rounded corners. And this is not necessarily a bad thing because the glass actually curves neatly into the metal edges, and in black it looks sexy and stealthy. Do note the glass body is susceptible to scratches, scuffs and fingerprints. Moreover, it slips out of the hands very easily. That said, the metal railing does add some rigidity to the device and should break the fall. In any case, I think you should put the phone in a case. Thanks to the Galaxy A7 2017's larger 5.7-inch display size compared to its predecessor's 5.5-inch display, the phone is now a tad thicker, taller, wider and heavier. However, in daily use, I rarely notice the increase in weight because it is evenly distributed across the device. Furthermore, the physical buttons for volume up-down functions and power, which are placed on the left edge and the right edge respectively, are properly raised. The fingerprint scanner lies on the home button right below the display on the front. I found it to be iffy and not one of the most responsive fingerprint scanners out there. I have two minor issues with the design of the Galaxy A7 2017 though. Firstly, the speaker is placed on the right edge above the power button. Yup, you're bound to block it inadvertently each time you hold the phone in landscape position to view videos. Also, the speaker quality is not that great. Secondly, the USB Type-C port at the bottom is not aligned in the center and is offset slightly. I know, it's a minor thing. But when you're paying so much for a phone, you expect perfection. At least I do. One important thing to note is that the phone has IP68 certification for protection against light dust particles, and which also makes it waterproof over 1.5 meter for 30 minutes. Another thing I like about the design is that Samsung provides two separate trays, one for the primary SIM card and the other for the second SIM and a micro SD card. The Samsung Galaxy A7 2017 has a 5.7-inch Full HD Super AMOLED panel, and this panel is protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 4. The phone offers a pixel density of 386 pixels per inch. In daily usage though, the naked eye cannot really spot the pixels on the display. You can also use Samsung's inbuilt screen mode, which can be found in the settings app, to tune the color temperature according to your preference. I found this to be handy. As far as the display is concerned, it can get adequately bright and I had no issues whatsoever viewing it under harsh sunlight. But remember that this is a Super AMOLED screen and the colors are slightly more saturated than you would have ideally liked it to be. The phone also carries forward the great always on feature from the Samsung Galaxy S7, which is nice. Samsung's new Grace UX makes a comeback on the Galaxy A7 2017, but the core software is still Android Marshmallow and not Android Nougat, which is definitely a bit of a downer. Having said that, with Grace UX, Samsung does a very good job of hiding all the extraneous features by default. Nothing is in your face anymore. By default, you get a clean look with home screens, an app drawer, and the briefing panel that can be invoked by sliding left from the first home screen. The UX has a few additional features like split screen apps, windowed apps, a dedicated app called Game Launcher that lets you capture screenshots and record video, among other things, gesture-based controls, and many more such settings. The software is loaded with more than you can ask for really. The most unique and cool addition to the new Samsung Galaxy A series phone is the support for Samsung Pay. I can't emphasize enough on how awesome and liberating it feels to use your phone as a credit or a debit card at retail stores. I really like how Samsung has seamlessly integrated Samsung Pay and made it work with all the ubiquitous point of sale terminals or card machines all across the country. Inside the phone you get a pair of 16 megapixel shooters on the front and the rear, both attached to a pair of f/1.9 aperture lenses. The 16 megapixel rear camera captures really good images in daylight. All my samples had a great amount of details in each pixel with little to no softness around the corners of the image either. The colors were vibrant, which I think is a little extra saturated for my taste, but which is good for most people. And even the barrel distortion was kept to a minimum. The dynamic range by default is pretty good, and the HDR mode doesn't really do much to improve the range, which is actually a good thing because you don't necessarily need to use the HDR mode for great dynamic range. The camera software can also autofocus on the subject really fast, and the shot-to-shot time is pretty good too. Thanks to the f/1.9 aperture, you can also expect to get a decent amount of depth as well in your shot. Having said that, the low light performance is not too great, and that is what separates the camera on the Galaxy A7 2017 from the wonderful camera on the Galaxy S7. The camera app offers you a Pro mode as well, which lets you adjust the white balance, ISO and the exposure, which is not much to say. A special night mode manages to introduce more light in the image instead of details. Now, I'm not a fan of that implementation actually. You can also record full HD 1080p videos that look good, but the lack of optical image stabilization is a downer, especially considering the previous generation Galaxy A7 had it. The 16 megapixel front camera captures some incredibly detailed selfies. How good is it? Well, it is almost as good as any image captured by the rear camera, and that's saying a lot. But don't expect it to blow your socks away in low light. Thankfully, you do get a screen flash to illuminate the entire scene. Overall, I'm mighty impressed by what Samsung has achieved with the cameras on both the smartphones. If only the rear camera had optical image stabilization. Samsung has fitted the phone with its homegrown Exynos 7880 SoC and 3GB of RAM. It comes with 32GB of internal storage, which is further expandable up to 256GB using a microSD card. If you're wondering which is the equivalent of 7880 in the Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset space, it has to be the Snapdragon 625. Both these SoCs come with 8 Cortex A53 cores, and they are based on the 14nm fabrication process. What this means is that the battery life will be really good, as is the case with all the Snapdragon 625 chipset running smartphones that I have tested in the past. With the A7 2017, the battery life is really good. In our battery test, the Galaxy A7 2017 lasted 18 hours and 47 minutes, which is exceptionally good. And you can easily derive a day and a half worth of usage from your phone on moderate usage. I regularly got a screen on time of 4 to 5 hours, which is great. During my review period, I rarely faced any stutter while using the phone, and you won't either in daily usage. As far as gaming is concerned, you will actually notice that the phone offers a far more stable and better gaming performance when compared with the Snapdragon 625 directly. I played Modern Combat 5 and Asphalt 8, which are really strenuous games on your GPU without any lag whatsoever. The Galaxy A7 2017 is also great for watching videos, mainly due to the deep blacks offered by the Super AMOLED screen. The sound quality offered by the earphones is top notch. And as is the case with most Samsung phones, the call quality is reliable and exceptional as well. After spending time with the Samsung Galaxy A7 2017, I can confidently say that this is a premium looking smartphone that packs a lot of punch. I like the design, I like the display, I like the gaming performance, and the great cameras on the front and the rear. Obviously, you won't get the performance grunt of the Snapdragon 821 SoC inside the OnePlus 3T, but there's enough and more for users who are into demanding. Let's not forget that the Samsung Galaxy A7 2017 will be easily available in retail stores in India, which I think is definitely an added advantage. Also, the support for Samsung Pay. I think in the future it could go on to become a coveted feature as far as payments are concerned. To cut the long story short, the Samsung Galaxy A7 is an affordable yet refined Samsung Galaxy S7 for the masses. What do you think? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked our review of the Samsung Galaxy A7 2017, don't forget to like it and share it. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Until next time, this is Eshad signing off. Adios.